Tonight on Joy News Prime, Vice Chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee defends approval of salaries for presidential spouses, insisting it is only fair.
So that they can also contribute a certain important quota to the development of their respective country and the world at large. So it is in that light and that vein or wisdom that I don't think they are paid anything extraordinary.
The minority, however, disagrees and is heading to court to challenge it.
Process of filing a writ at the Supreme Court, hopefully by tomorrow by this time, the writ would have been filed. We want to interrogate the issue. The committee had no mandate to make the kind of recommendation they did. They acted utterly ultra-vires their power.
Out there on the streets, there are not too many people in favor of the move.
They should not pay them because they are enjoying from their husband already. They should not pay them. Is that in the constitution? For a long time, is it in the constitution?
We, the taxpayers, are beginning to suffer. We suffer more. Why should they earn monies from our sweat?
Meanwhile, as Parliament considers a $28 million loan for MPs to acquire their own vehicles, there are some who believe MPs deserve to be assigned official vehicles, like senior members of the executive and judiciary.
I ask MPs to reject the loan and ask government to procure vehicles for us, for us to use in the performance of our duties. After 4 years, we leave the vehicles for them.
Central Commander of Ghana Armed Forces tells Ejura Ministerial Committee the security personnel fired at the protesters only after they had first opened fire. We'll bring you business, and then as more lives are lost to road crashes in Ghana, the National Road Safety Authority is taking steps to stop minors in the northeast region from operating tricycle taxis, popularly known as pragia.
Those who are underage, who are riding the motorcycles and the tricycles, like this, we will have to talk to them so that they stop.
While in the central region, the police is urging the public to completely boycott the vehicles as minors abandon school to operate them.
An objective for all riders who are into commercial use with the pragia is to get passengers and also to get to make money. So if the general public refuse to patronize them, I think they will fold up from the system.
My name is Israel. Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our Fanofa studios at Kokomlemle here in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air, and also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is the home of independent, fearless, credible and impactful journalism. Stay tuned in. The Vice Chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee, Patrick Yabuama, has defended Parliament's decision to approve payment of emolument to the spouses of the President and his vice, insisting they deserve it. The House in January this year approved the Professor Bedu Intiamwa Committee's report recommending emoluments for the executive, judiciary and legislature. Provisions were also made for the First Lady and the wife of the Vice President, and Mr. Buama says it is only fair they get paid.
Sometimes we always look at the monetary aspect, not looking at the contributions that they bring to the table. Mr. Akufo-Addo is doing a lot at Kolebu. Everybody is happy about it. Mrs. Baumia is also doing something very good around the country. Mrs. Kufuor did the Mother and Child Foundation. Sometimes through them, various non-governmental organizations are able to channel some supplies through their organizations, and it comes to Ghanaians. You never know which member of your family has benefited from some of their initiatives. It's possible.
Shouldn't it be humanitarian? I'm sure your good wife as well also does some of these.
She does.
Good things for the good people of Okaiti.
They do. She does.
Okaiti Central.
She does.
So shouldn't it be seen in that light than wanting to kind of reward them as well?
There's a privilege occupying a certain position, and there's weight to be attached to every position and what you can do. My wife will not be invited to speak at a gender and children's session at the United Nations. she won't. But the first ladies have a forum that they converge and speak, because the world has gotten to appreciate their roles. The world has gotten to appreciate their roles. It didn't start in Ghana. ECOWAS first ladies, African first ladies, when they go to the United Nations, their spouses are there. They hold different sessions for them so that they can also contribute a certain important quota to the development of their respective countries and the world at large. So it is in that light and that vein or wisdom that I don't think they are paid anything extraordinary.
But NDC MP for South Dai, Roxin Dafiamekpo, says the approval is illegal and he will file a suit at the Supreme Court on Thursday to challenge the president's decision to implement the recommendation. He says the minority side objected during approval, but the majority used its numbers.
Or recommendations touching on the Article 71 office holders. And the report was brought, and we approve of that. If you go back into the Hansard, you will see that the minority chief whip, during the approval of this report, raised the issue of the inclusion of this queer recommendation that arrangements should be made for the spouses of the president and the vice president to be paid some form of monies, which is now being termed as salaries or monthly wages. And to that extent, it is unconstitutional. But the intention of Parliament was not to approve of any such recommendation. If government decided not to accede to the request of deleting that part of the recommendation from the report because it was finally approved of, that is their business. Parliament doesn't approve of illegalities.
But shouldn't you have done that amendment here in Parliament?
Yes,
to say that
yes.
it should go to the executive for the executive to do the
No,
if you were that convinced that it's an unconstitutional.
We've raised it from the beginning. That's why I'm asking you to check the Hansard of early December. This thing was brought here early December. In fact, it was brought, I think, on the day that we rose to go and go through the general elections. So, but they refused because they came too late. Government is the one that brought the report for approval. If we insisted on something and you said no, you knew how the dynamics of the House at the time. We were outnumbered. So as we speak, I'm in the process of filing a writ at the Supreme Court. Hopefully by tomorrow, by this time, the writ would have been filed. We want to interrogate the issue. The committee had no mandate to make the kind of recommendation they did. They acted utterly ultra-vires their powers.
The National Democratic Congress, in a statement issued a short while ago, says it will challenge the approval of salaries for presidential spouses at the Supreme Court and also embark on what it calls no salary uprising. A statement signed by the party's youth organizer says the committee that made the recommendation erred. Now, it reads, the youth wing of the National Democratic Congress has become aware of a news item attributed to Information Minister Honorable Kojo Opon Nkrumah that Parliament has approved recommendations of the Professor Yaw Ntiamwa Bedu-led Committee on emoluments for Article 71 office holders, for which spouses of President Akufo-Addo and Vice President Dr. Mamadou Bawumia will receive same monthly salaries as cabinet ministers. It is surprising that at a time President Akufo-Addo has admonished all Ghanaians to make sacrifices and has imposed nuisance taxes coupled with draconian economic policies under the guise of economic recovery due to COVID-19. He gave a clean bill of health for Parliament to approve a report of the committee he constituted to impose further financial burden on the Consolidated Fund. The terms of reference of the Professor Yaw Ntiamwa Bedu Committee gave out the President as chief architect of the decision to pay his wife, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, and wife of Vice President Mrs. Sarah Bawumia. For want of better expression, the decision to further drain the Consolidated Fund with needless expenditure is a pet project of President Akufo-Addo. It is instructive to point out that we find the attempt to institutionalize the payment of salaries to the spouses of the President and the Vice President as an attack on the Constitution of the country. The provisions of Article 71 of the 1992 Constitution is elaborate and unambiguous by listing the public officials bound to draw their salaries from the Consolidated Fund. Indeed, the Constitution never clothed the Emolument Committee with any power to introduce any category of persons to benefit from the Consolidated Fund without due regard to Article 108. It is our considered view that the committee erred in making such recommendation. The bully approval process by the MPP majority in the last parliament and subsequent acquiescence of President Akufo-Addo of the recommendation is an unjustifiable assault on the Constitution, which must not go unchallenged. And then, in line with this, the Youth Wing will, in the coming days, invoke the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to declare this cancerous and insensitive act unconstitutional. By this circular, we announced the hashtag No Salary Uprising across the nation by the young people of this country until this obnoxious development is reversed. And it ends, George Opari, under my hand, George Opari Ado, Esquire, National Youth Organizer of the NDC. Now, some members of the public Joy News has been speaking with say they are not in favor of salaries for spouses of the President and his vice.
I think it's rather unfortunate because looking at the times we are in, I mean, these difficult times that the masses are suffering, like there's difficulty, I mean, because of the COVID-19, its impact on business and the rest. See, sometimes when government takes some of these decisions, it looks like they don't care about the people. I mean, it's not really out of place, you understand, because they're also playing their part. But I see the timing, personally for me, I think is wrong. Things have become so tough. People are struggling to make ends meet, you understand me?
We, the taxpayers, are beginning to suffer. We suffer more. Why should they earn monies from our sweat? They are making their monies. Why can their husbands feed them? I mean, why should it come from us? So I don't support it, honestly.
If the parliamentarians actually approve for them to be paid, I don't see any reason why they will not be paid. But in this case, sometimes we have to apply our conscience in everything. Probably is it necessary that they are paid? If it is, they've considered the economy and everything and they feel it's necessary, fine. But to me, I don't see it to be necessary because they don't hold any public office. If they are to be holding any public office, I would have said fine, they can be paid. But if they are not holding any public office and you are saying they should pay the first lady and the second lady, I don't see anything good about it.
I think it's normal. So far as they are in government, if they've been given a specific role to play, I think they need to earn salary. If it's about allowance and salary, what's the difference? It's just a name. Giving them allowance and then converting into salary. I think the salary is quite better. That is traceable. At least one day we can trace it that this is how much we're receiving. But giving them allowance is in some way. So I think it's rather better for them to be receiving salary so that we can quantify it. We can know that this is how much they are receiving.
They should not pay them because they are enjoying from their husband already. Because their husband is the president and their first lady. They should not pay them. Is that in the Constitution? For a long time, is it in the Constitution? Then why do they introduce it? It's not fair.
Well, if you have an opinion of that, you can get onto our Facebook and social media handles and get to express your opinion. But we're staying in Parliament where Vice Chairman of House's Finance Committee, Patrick Yabuama, is urging MPs to reject a $28 million car loan being procured for them by the government from the National Investment Bank. The loan agreement has been referred to the Finance Committee after Deputy Finance Minister Abna Osei-Sari laid it on the floor of the House. The medium-term loan is expected to be disbursed to MPs to be paid back over the course of their 4-year tenure as MPs. The minister also laid in Parliament a similar request for a $3.5 million car loan for members of the 8th Council of State.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I seek your leave to delete the number 275 for it to reach the purchase of vehicles. Before I present, I lay the paper.
Very well, deleted. You may now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. medium-term loan agreement among the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Finance, members of the 8th Parliament, 2021 to 2024, and the National Investment Bank Limited, for an amount of 28 million United States dollars to finance the purchase of vehicles for members of the 8th Parliament, 2021 to 2024.
The paper is duly presented. It refers to the Committee on Finance, Consider and Report.
Zabuama, however, wants MPs to be assigned official vehicles like senior members of the executive and judiciary rather than handed car loans, which they have to pay back.
Nobody has asked of why the state, from the executive and the judiciary, are giving vehicles without having to procure a loan. That's why I'm saying that if I have my way, I'll ask MPs to reject the loan and ask government to procure vehicles for us. For us to use in the performance of our duties. After 4 years, we leave the vehicles for them. Because before I started taking my salary in the 8th Parliament, I was given a notice that from February, a certain amount of money will be deducted from my salary in anticipation of this loan, which is yet to be approved in July. So from February, I started paying. That was last year. This year, 8th Parliament. Okay. I started paying, even though I hadn't seen the loan. That one, nobody saw anything wrong with that. But the president, down the line to ministers, you are MPs, you are journalists in Parliament, you see ministers. They come here with official vehicles. Some have the four-wheel and the saloon. Nobody complains. The members of the judiciary, they do. Nobody has complained. MPs, they are not having it for free. They are procuring a loan. That one, there's a problem. That one. So I think we need to interrogate it. If the public thinks that MPs don't deserve a vehicle to work with, we should know.
Well, there appears to be some support from across the aisle. NDC MP for South Dai, Roxing Dafiamekpo, says currently some MPs come to Parliament in Uber rides, which is worrying and unsafe. Reacting to calls by the Vice Chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee for MPs to reject the loan, he said, in the absence of MPs being given official vehicles, they deserve the loan.
Facility to purchase a vehicle and you are granted a tax waiver, I don't think it is an exceptional matter.
Should MPs reject this and insist on official government vehicles?
It is not about rejecting it. As we speak, we've been in office for 7 months. Our colleagues who are new and who didn't have the benefit of having strong vehicles come to this house in Uber. And I want you journalists to interrogate that matter. Colleagues come, they get to here, they get to office in Uber, the Uber cars, they go around here. And it's very dangerous. So the arrangement may be wrong. And for me, it is wrong. But I cannot say because it is wrong, if there's no alternative, so I won't accept it. If there's a more credible alternative, which is that I will be assigned an official vehicle, so that at the end of the 4 years, whatever arrangement there are in respect of the vehicle we do, that is acceptable to me. But nobody should insult MPs because they are to be given a facility to acquire a vehicle to perform their functions.
You said the arrangement is wrong. What particularly is wrong with the arrangement?
Because it is a loan. So as we speak, since January, monies have been deducted from my salary towards this. Even though I'm not sitting in the vehicle yet. Deductions are coming out of my monthly wages towards the purchase of this vehicle. And when it is time for that to be done, people are raising issues. So that for me is also wrong.
So, as you heard the MP say, MPs have come to expect that they will be giving car loans, and so they have been readying themselves for that. But they are not the only ones who have been readying themselves for the loans. The vehicle companies have actually been readying and advertising some vehicles on the premises of Parliament.
So this is the car park right here in Parliament House, and two different car companies, first of all Nissan as well as VW, have actually mounted small canopies here, and they're advertising some of their vehicles right here. And as you can see, a Nissan X-Trail is one of the vehicles that's actually been parked here. It's not the only vehicle. Now, usually what happens is that on a regular day, some of the marketing executives are around and encouraging the MPs to pass by one or the other and get one of these vehicles. A Nissan Patrol, that's also here, what is popularly called the V8 vehicle. Those are the two vehicles that the Nissan team are advertising here. They are not the only ones here, as I indicated. VW as well are here. They have this saloon car parked right here that they're advertising as well. Not just that, they have this VW pickup separately that they've parked right here on the premises. They are usually a lot more on a very regular day, but occasionally they bring in a different vehicle as well. And you can see their signposts here, the banners flying, and one way or the other on a very regular day when the MPs are around, them encouraging the MPs to come around and possibly grab one of these vehicles.
All right, so that was Joseph Opoku-Gakpo telling us about the vehicles that have been advertised for MPs. I have Joseph joining me again this time to tell me what else has been happening in Parliament. But Joseph, before all of that, I find it curious that there was no Kantanka vehicle on display. So I was saying I found it curious, though, that I didn't see any Kantanka vehicles on display. All right, we appear to be having some challenges.
Maybe in the days ahead, we will see the Kantanka vehicles come through Israel. But for now, the two brands that I mentioned are the ones which are here. Well,
that's been happening in Parliament, though. All right, we will take a break. We'll try and restore that connection to Joseph Opoku-Gakpo. Apparently, it appears he has some difficulty hearing me, but we'll come back to him in a bit. To stay tuned. Right, so we're going back to Parliament House and to Joseph Opoku-Gakpo. So, Joseph, apparently the Attorney General has justified the department's decision in 2017 to drop charges against members of the NPP's Delta Force in Kumasi who allegedly attacked the court. You tell us more about that.
So, when he appeared before Parliament's Public Accounts Committee today, Mr. Godfrey Odami was asked what MPs would usually describe as public interest questions. And this question came from Ibrahim Mutala, the MP for Tamale Central, about whether he could give assurances that that case in which some court officials were attacked by alleged MPP Delta Force members, those involved will be dealt with, and said that a gentleman had claimed responsibility as leading the group when they did that attack in a radio interview in Kumasi. And the Attorney General's explanation was that the fact that the Attorney General's office filed a nolle prosequi then to discontinue the case doesn't mean that it's come to an end, and that the CID should possibly be investigating and speed up the investigation so that then when more evidence is acquired, they could probably resume the case, and that the said discontinuation was mainly because they didn't have adequate evidence as at then.
Right, thank you very much, Parliamentary Correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break, but still ahead in the bulletin, as more lives are lost to road crashes in Ghana, the National Road Safety Authority is taking steps to stop minors in the northeast region from operating tricycle taxis, popularly known as Pragia.
Underage who are riding the motorcycles and the tricycles, like those who have to talk to them so that they stop.
While in the central region, the police is urging the public to completely boycott their vehicles as minors abandon school to operate them.
The main objective for all riders who are into commercial use with the pragya is to get passengers and also to get to make money. So if the general public refuse to patronize them, I think they will fold up from the system.
And we'll be bringing you the very latest on the Ejura probe. Do stay tuned, and then business as well. We'll be back in a bit.
You're welcome to Business. I'm Charles Aite. Call it a potential threat to aviation safety at the Kotoka International Airport. The Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau says traveler birds are now competing with aircraft at the airbase. These birds settled along the runway as flights got grounded to the COVID-19 restrictions. Speaking to me, the newly appointed commissioner of the Bureau, Pokuase Prempe, revealed that some aggressive measures are underway to clear these traveler birds.
So when it comes to investigation of accident or incident, you need two expertise. You need the pilot or the aircraft engineers, because accident or incident can happen either by human error or by maintenance. The Bureau was set up to investigate incidents that has been happening and also come out with safety recommendations.
So what are some of the incidents on your table currently?
We have serious incidents and normal incidents. Okay. These are the indicators we use to monitor. Right now, we're talking about bird strikes.
Okay.
Bird strikes. You know, because the airline was not in operation for a while because of the COVID situation. And the grass along the airport, these birds comes in, feed on it. Okay. Because there is no operations. So now that there is operation, meaning these birds have to travel somewhere else. So it's like they are competing with the aircraft. So that is the incident that we are having. But the other incidents, which maybe we have to look at it as a team.
And of course, the full interview airs tomorrow. You may want to stay tuned for that. Away from that, the Bono Regional House of Chiefs has issued a warning that will lead to punishment for encroaching on the Sunyani Airport lands, which remains a major hindrance to the ongoing Sunyani Airport renovation project. Speaking after an inspection of the renovation work, which is already behind the completion date, the Vice President of the Bono Regional House of Chiefs said anyone found culpable will be dealt with. Precious Semenfor has more.
Delegation to the Sunyani Airport included the paramount chiefs of Banda and Insoko, Osaberima Okochiridom Kwejosito, and Dasibra Okoji Amandodu Ampem II. The Vice President of the Bono Regional House of Chiefs, Okochiridom Sechi Ako II, said the visit forms part of their vision of bringing chieftaincy to bear on the needs of the citizenry. He expressed the appreciation to the government for the commitment towards the Sunyani Airport project, though they have a problem with the project timeline.
We are pleased with the extent of work and the quality of work. It is the timing that we had problem with, but they assured us, the contractor has assured us that within 2 to 3 months, that is maximum by October, hopefully the project will be completed, the first phase will be completed and handed over. And with the first phase completed, aircrafts can land at the Sunyani Airport.
The encroachment of the airport land by private developers and the risk associated with it remains the contractor's main challenge. Buildings are seen a few meters away from the runway. Okochiridom Sechiako II said they would involve all stakeholders to ascertain the encroachers from the original Sunyani Airport plan, and culprits would be punished.
People have built very close to the runway, and it becomes very dangerous. The air path is also encroached upon. Roofing of the buildings around the runway is also reflective and may increase the risk of landing. We are going to examine from what originally existed to what is existing now, so that we will know who has encroached on the original land And then the processes, all those authorities that were involved, traditional council, assembly, individuals, lands commission. Of course, the airport authority is also going to be involved as a stakeholder. So we will do a fact finding to see who aided who to get the land from the original plan. And surely we are going to bring pressure on everybody and punish those corporates found guilty. Some of the buildings may be demolished, or their roofing and other things may be adjusted.
The Sunyani airport, when completed, will facilitate the movement of businesses and people ready to patronize Sunyani and the Bono region. For Joy News, Precious Semevo, Sunyani.
And that'll be it for business. I'll be back after 8. I'm Charles Aite.
Right, it's time for Showbiz, and Becky Bex is here. Hello, Becky.
Hello to you. Easy, how you doing?
I am well. How about
today,
you?
I'm fantastic.
Okay,
let me take you to London because we had an exclusive interview with Dwayne Boache. He is an actor there in London. He's a Ghanaian, UK-based Ghanaian actor, and he's been talking about how we can bridge the international gap by collaborating more and having the people outside, coming down here to Ghana to help build the industry.
Right.
So he spoke to Gary Alston. So that was Dwayne Boache, projecting Ghana to the rest of the world. Let's stay in the UK because this October we will be having the Ghana Music Awards UK live in London, but there's a nominees release happening in Ghana.
Right.
So
even though the main event is in London, the nominees release is happening.
It's happening in Ghana, and we're proud. I'm proud to say that Multimedia is partnering the Ghana Music Awards UK for the 5th time. We've been doing this for quite,
Wow, no.
So it's been 5 years. So that's, I'll be bringing you updates as to what you need to know.
Will you be going there to cover it?
Of course, I'll be live in London. So so look out for that, Easy.
All right.
Let's move away from Ghana Music Awards UK. Let's talk about Kidi. So he's been trending the whole morning. I don't know what happened, but he stopped trending. Something else came up. But why he was trending is because he has a show coming up. David, if you have that, you can just put it on the screen for us. So the table, so the amount of money you're supposed to pay for the table is what's actually making it trend. So there's actually a touch-it table that is 15,000. Yeah. So and we have the 10,000.
But it indicates what they're offering. So it's not just 15,000.
15,000. Yeah. They're offering champagne. You're getting other things, and the list is 3,000 Ghana cedis. And so he posted that on.
So the least amongst the tables is 3,000 cities.
Yeah,
so
it's 3,000.
It's from 15,000, 10,000 cities, 8,000 cities, 5,000 cities, and then 3,000.
And some fans don't understand why he's charging
that much.
And he even got emotional at a point, and he said that Ghanaians are just haters.
Okay, so here's what the 15,000 comes with: 12 wristbands, one.
Champagne
7 champagne bottles on the table, and
one
then
whiskey,
one whiskey, one cognac, one vodka and tequila, and mixers plus water. Okay, so
that's water. You get to drink
the entire table is 15,000.
It's 15,000.
All right. So it means it's not
12
just for
people.
one person.
Yeah, 12 people on a table.
All right.
So
and the least is 3,000. If 12 people on a table of 3,000, you split it.
And we have people who stand outside too. You don't necessarily have to sit on a table, Easy. And so people are just...
Why will you stand outside when the action is going on?
Because you're paying like five Ghana or something.
Okay,
So,
and people are not happy with it.
And people are not happy with it. But what do you think? Would you pay like 15,000 for a show or something? I mean, if you love Kidi, if you're a Kidi fan, I will do that.
3,000 for 12 people. If you split it, it comes down to what?
That's a lot of money.
It's not so much. 3,000 divided by 250.
One argument that somebody on Twitter was making is that his fans are usually women and like the ladies, and so he's not too sure that, you know, his ladies will be able to pay that much for a table. But please, guys, I mean, Easy will go. He will pay like, you get us a table, right? 15,000.
I'm not going. All right, thank you very much, Becky Bex, for bringing us Showbiz.
I'll take you.
You're watching Joy News Prime. We have more news coming up. Stay tuned in. All right, it's time for sports enhancements, and is here. He says he's buying me a table, a Kidi table.
A 15,000 Ghana Cedi table. You get, what, 12 wristbands?
Who's that?
I was just asking, what are the wristbands? It's just a normal.
Yeah, wristbands.
Normal wristbands. I'll get you a table. We'll talk about that later. But Chelsea defender Baba Rahman is confident the Black Stars can end their 39-year AFCON trophy drought in next year's competition. The four-time African champions have not won an AFCON trophy since 1982. Ghana has since played in 3 finals in 1992, 2010, and in 2015. Many football fans in Ghana are craving for a 5th AFCON trophy, and Baba Rahman is confident Ghana will win next year's competition.
We get criticized all the time, and I think they are right to criticize us because I think if I was not part of the national team, I would also criticize the national team because it's been so long time that Ghana has seen a trophy. So the pressure has always been there, and I think it will always be there.
So national team have qualified for the AFCON, but you still don't get the sense that people have a lot of faith in the team, even though we've qualified for the AFCON. Or do you, I should ask?
I think this is Ghana for you, and yeah, most of the time when we don't have this much confidence, that's when the team goes high. If you look at 2010, when the guys were going, everyone was saying they were kids from the Under-20 World Cup. They went to the finals, unlucky enough. If you look at 2015, just after the World Cup, when we were going, they said, oh, this is like Frefra Kobo team, because nobody knew who was in the team. We went straight to finals and lost on penalties. So I just hope the new faces that are coming in will push Ghana high, and hopefully this time Ghana will bring it.
Still at Wimbledon, Roger Federer's bid for a 9th Wimbledon title is over after he was stunned in straight set by Hubert Hurkacz in the quarterfinals. Right, so quick updates from the Euro 2020 semi-final game ongoing at Wembley between England and Denmark. 1-1 half-time. The teams will be reconverging shortly for the second 45 minutes. That's it for now. More sports later in the bulletin.
The National Road Safety Authority in the Northeast region says it has begun steps to stop minors from engaging in commercial tricycle operations in the region. As part of the new operation, the authority, in collaboration with the police, is to embark on strict enforcement of road traffic regulations in the area in order to reduce incidents of road crashes. The authority will also intensify road safety education and sensitization in communities and public centers, after which road traffic offenders will be arrested and prosecuted. Director General of the authority, Engineer May Obri Yabwa, who made the announcement in Nalerugu, added that the measures will be put in place to ensure discipline and safety on the roads in the region. Correspondent Eliasu Tanko has more.
Mrs. May is the first Director General of the authority to visit the Northeast region since its creation almost 3 years ago. She was in the region to attend the maiden stakeholders meeting organized by her regional staff on road safety situation and challenges to road safety interventions against the background of the rising incidents of road accidents nationwide. She was first accompanied to pay a courtesy call on the overlord Nabahaga Abdullahi Mahamid II. There, Mrs. May detailed her mission to the Mamprugu King.
I know that now that we have come, there'll be some restrictions, and then things that people were just doing freely, now we will have to tell them what the law says and all that. So to get to a time, people think we are stepping on their freedom, but just to protect lives and property. So we would want that when it happens like that, the overlord and all the elders will be behind us so that we can preserve the lives of the people in this region. So one or two things that I'll put forward is like those who are underage, who are riding the motorcycles and the tricycles, like this, we will have to talk to them so that they stop. Those who have not registered their their motorcycles and tricycles, we encourage them to do, and then also the use of the helmet, so that people will use their helmet so that they can be protected if there should be a crash.
The overlord welcomed the Director General of the Road Safety Authority and was thankful to her for the visit. His senior-most elder Mbatarana spoke on his behalf.
He has said he is prepared to support in whatever way. You are protecting lives is a plus for him because he is always there for the people. Whatever is good for the people, he will ensure that it is done. And so this is one thing that he will add his support in whatever capacity he can to make sure that our roads are safe for us, for the pedestrians and for the vehicular users. So we are very grateful. And we thank you for even making it a point to come and see him and also to establish an office in the Northeast region.
The director also paid a visit to the newly established office complex for the authority. The stakeholders meeting was the first of its kind to be held by the Road Safety Authority in the region, and it brought together several stakeholders in the road transport system, including officials from the security services, transport unions, and drivers association in the regional capital.
Minister, one of the things I would wish that anytime you are having a program, I'm sure the RCC, some of the people are here, they should put something about safety in your speech. Because the more we talk about it, the more the people will see how serious we are. We want you to be an advocate for us, so that, like I said, this region, being a new region, will be a showcase for other regions.
The Motor Traffic and Transport Department of the Ghana Police Service is by law mandated to enforce road traffic regulations. The regional MTTD Commander ASP John Emmanuel Awuchi attributed the practice to ignorance and called for public road safety education.
Now, concerning the minor, my lieutenant is here and he will bear me out. We made several attempts undertook, trying as much as possible to curb that practices. I have even confronted somebody who's at the age of 10 years. Yes, 10 years riding a motorbike, 10 years riding a motorcade. Because if he doesn't take the motorcade to go and fetch water, to get money, to feed the family, there's nobody to do that. I'm happy that the writer has emphasized the news and at least open our eyes on the fact that education is paramount. They do not know. And that's what exactly the good book tells us. That at the time when we did not know that what we were doing was wrong, today, the writer is telling us that it is wrong. We have to change that perception.
Ilyasu Tanko reporting.
The Central Regional Police Command meanwhile is urging residents in the region not to patronize tricycles, popularly known as praga, being used for commercial activities in the region, especially in the Cape Coast metropolis. According to the police, the use of tricycles for commercial activities is prohibited by law, and the public should not support its operations. The city of Cape Coast has been flooded with tricycles where young boys who are barely 18 years of age have abandoned school to operate them. The Regional Police Command on Monday arrested 60 of the tricycle riders in a special operation. Richard Kojonyako has more.
The Cape Coast Metro Education Directorate about a fortnight ago expressed worry about the way in which children of school-going age had deserted the classroom and were engaged in commercial tricycle operations, popularly known as pragia. The practice hasn't been the concern of only the Education Directorate, but many well-meaning residents of the region who say the tricycle riders drive carelessly on the roads. After the special operations by the Regional Police Command that saw the arrest of 60 tricycle riders, the Regional Police PRO DSP Irene Opon indicated the law does not permit tricycles to be used for commercial purposes in the country.
The target was on riders without license and insurance certificate, and also all children who are now riders instead of being in the classroom. We went through the whole of Cape Coast metropolis, where we think our intelligence can establish that we can get them to arrest. Today we have arrested about 60 plus of the riders, and they are being processed for court. We are using the LI 2180 regulation 128, which states that the regulation does not permit tricycle to be used for commercial purpose. And the punishments for those who go contrary to this is 25 penalty units or 30 days imprisonment, or both, as the judge of the case will.
DSP Opon further revealed that most accident cases recorded in the metropolis within the first quarter of this year were caused by reckless and careless driving of these riders, and there was a need to expedite action to curtail further losses and damages. The police command appealed to the public to desist from engaging tricycles for commercial purposes because it was harming a lot of lives and properties in the metropolis.
Currently, most of accident cases recorded within the metropolis, that is Cape Coast, for the first quarter are caused by the tricycle riders, or the pragia as we locally term it. Hence, we need to do something concrete about this. We would like to use this opportunity to appeal to the general public. The main objective for all riders who are into commercial use with the pragia is to get passengers and also to get to make money. So if the general public refuse to patronize them, I think they will fold up from the system.
Even more worrying is the fact that junior high school students have deserted the classroom and are engaged in such an enterprise. The 60 riders were put before court on Tuesday. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kojonyako, Cape Coast.
The Motor Traffic and Transport Department of the Ghana Police Service is appealing to owners of transport services to encourage their drivers to abide by road traffic regulations to prevent needless accidents. Head of Education, Research and Training, Superintendent Alexander Obeng, said this when he led a team from his office and officials from the National Road Safety Authority to enforce usage of the footbridge at the Pokuase interchange, which has been opened for pedestrians. He explained this has become necessary as some members of the public are still crossing the highway and endangering their lives in the process. Hannah Odame brings us this report from Pokuase.
This footbridge on the Pokuase interchange has been open to the public, but users who hitherto were accustomed to crossing the road beneath me will have to adjust to climbing to be able to use this footbridge. And that's why officials of the MTTD are here today to sensitize, encourage, and ask everyone to ensure that they are safe by not crossing the road but using this footbridge. Some of them are having a tough time, like Levity.
Because some of them are aware of the footbridge, but they think it's still locked.
So when you tell them to go back, what is their response? Usually, do they agree with you? Or
others agree, the others don't. Others complain of knee and waist problems. But I try to tell them, because here car can easily knock you down. But when you use here, it's safer.
Some of the pedestrians have also been sharing their concerns as well as their praises for the use of this bridge.
They should finish the footsteps before they will allow us to walk, so that there wouldn't be any trouble or any accident.
It's going to be safe for us to cross the street. And a concern I was actually driving at is what happens at night? How are they going to stop people from crossing the street?
The boss of the MTTD has been speaking to me about how this education will be sustained day and night.
We will be here to help all motorists to adjust, be guided, because police and National Road Safety Authority will not be here around the clock.
From the Pokuase interchange here in Accra, my name is Hannah Odami for Joy News.
Now, the Central Commander of the Ghana Armed Forces has told the committee probing the Ejura violence that the security personnel who fired at the protesters only did so after shots were fired at them. Brigadier General Joseph Afo told the Ministerial Committee investigating the circumstances leading to the death of 2 and injury of 6 others that 2 persons with weapons have been arrested and handed over to the police.
What I have heard from my commander was that even as I talk to you now, we have arrested 2 gentlemen with weapons. So we've reported it to the police. They are currently, I don't know whether they are in police cells, but with weapons.
Did your commander on the ground inform you that he saw or heard any gunshot from the ground?
Certainly.
The chain of command and the use of live bullets by the military have been heavily criticized by a section of the public. But Brigadier General Afo says that rules of engagement give the personnel the right to use live bullets when necessary.
The aim was not to kill.
But you did?
No, sir. The aim was not to kill. It was just unfortunate. If the aim was to kill, sir, we would have gotten not less than 100 people dying.
That's true. That's true.
It's just unfortunate.
But, Colonel, you knew that for every such operation, there will be people who are casualties. We're talking about people who are maimed. The crowd, the rioters themselves could have maimed themselves.
Yes, sir. Yes. As a matter of fact, I even suspect the weapon that fired from the protesters might have hit one of them.
That's subject to investigation anyway.
Yes. And yes, because you see, the soldiers started firing into the air. If you are not a professional and there's another rifle firing, you wouldn't know. And that is how come some people are saying that they were not handling weapons. When an M16 rifle fires, I know.
Yes.
When a G3 rifle fires, I know. But the ordinary civilian doesn't know. The media wouldn't know. So all you hear is gunshots into the air, and it started when the soldiers came. So you assume that it's only soldiers who are firing.
The firing could have come from the crowd, which I also subscribe to. Could have. But members of the public who don't understand military, whatever it is, strategies, the guns they use, whatever they use, might also say that from the video they saw some of your men kneeling down, and kneeling is aiming. How do you answer that?
Sorry. You see, there is a procedure in dispersing crowd. The first is a verbal warning. The second is to cock your weapons to signal to the crowd that you are about to fire. The third is to fire warning shots. But the signal to scare them includes the kneeling, to aim, for you to be scared and maybe disperse. As a matter of fact, the direction of the man who knelt was said that no casualty came from that side.
But he
didn't fire. He didn't fire. He fired only warning shots. But when he went down, he didn't fire. In addition to that, kneeling is a position for firing. Yes. We have types of positions we fire for. Sitting, kneeling, squatting, standing. One may adopt whichever one he finds comfortable with. So just taking a knee doesn't mean that you are doing something out of the ordinary.
So the soldier you just heard from is actually Lieutenant Colonel Kwesi Peprano was explaining that the military officer seen kneeling in the viral video actually killed no one. Now, the chain of command and the use of live bullets by the military have been heavily criticized by a section of the public, and that also came up at the probe, which was held on the Ejura killings. But let's get over to Zoom now and get to speak with the security analyst Adam Bona. Now, thank you very much, Mr. Adam Bona. So we had you speak, follow the proceedings yesterday, and you had your views on it. What are your views following today's proceedings?
Well, good evening, Israel. Yes, well, I would say there has been some improvement with regards to today's proceedings.
All right.
The line of questioning, if you ask me, I would say, well, significant improvement, but then could have been better. And so if you ask me to rate them, I'm likely to give them about 4 out of 10. I would say if you realize the inconsistencies, that came out today, between today and yesterday. The regional minister yesterday, he is, the one who commandeered or who gave the information or authorized the military to be in Ejura. But he yesterday in his responses didn't say anywhere that they got firearms or they arrested anyone with a firearm. He didn't say that his briefings actually indicate that firearms, they had gunshots at, at where the disturbances took place. And so to have this come from the military, commanders who largely were not there, commanders who were not there, these people are hearsay. For me, I find that worrying, especially when the same Ashanti region, we know how the Aswanse 7 died. And the police in the Ashanti region shamefully paraded the bodies with firearms and, serious ammo, and said these guys used the firearms on the police officers who killed them. But eventually, the committee that was set up to probe the issue, that killing, exonerated each and every one of the persons they killed and said none of them actually had a firearm at the scene where they killed them. And so for me, to hear this coming from them, and you remember, significantly, when the incident took place, the day these young people were killed, the police PRO in Ashanti region, when asked during a press briefing, when asked if they had arrested anybody during the disturbances on the day, he said no. You can go back and play. He said no, they had not arrested anybody. So to hear today that they actually arrested some people with firearms, I'm wondering, where did they arrest them? Was it at the scene? And when the committee members asked them, did you find any spent shell? They said no. And so if you didn't find spent shells, you didn't find, and you heard one of the military officers said he suspects that the gunshot that was fired actually could have been one of the, all these things are a subject of investigation. So as far as I'm concerned, there are more questions I was thinking the committee members probably could have probed. But unfortunately, some of the questions didn't come. But once again, we had, blaming others for the excesses we saw. You saw the police actually say that they sent in the military, even though they picked intel, they sent in the military to be at the forefront because they thought the military would intimidate the citizens. Anyone who understands how these things are done will tell you that people, even young people in this country have lost their fear for the military. And so to say that you send them in and now people have been killed, for me, you can't attempt to justify by accusing others, accusing media, accusing others who speak on these things. I find that very unfortunate. And I thought the committee members could have done a bit better by ensuring that they stayed focused. But you can see, and Israel, it looks like the committee not well prepared. That's my observation. Right. They are not well prepared because I think the committee chairman repeatedly asked that do you have this person around? If it's there, we need him to come. And I'm thinking that for a committee of that nature,
you thought they would have ahead of time laid out the people they were expecting to invite.
Exactly. I mean, I would have thought that the committee, I mean, they have all the arsenal within their remit to bring everybody, to ask whoever they want to be there, to be there.
Right.
So to appear there and be actually asking that if this person there means that anybody they find on the day would come, whether you are prepared or not, come and testify. So I think based on that, I would hope that going forward, if I don't know how many, I hear it's 10 days. I don't know whether all the 10 days would be for the hearing or, 5 days for hearing and they write their report for another 5 days.
Right.
But I think they should do a better job tomorrow.
I want you to hold on because there's another inquiry that I'd like to pick your thoughts on. In WA, 15 witnesses who are also victims of last week's military attack on civilians have appeared before the committee, which is conducting an inquiry into the inhumane incident. My colleague Rafiq Salam has been monitoring proceedings there and joins us via Zoom with more. So, Rafiq, what can you tell us about proceedings today? All right, Rafiq, I'd want to find out what's the outcome of proceedings today? What came up during proceedings today?
Israel, what is happening in the Upper West region? The incident started somewhere on Monday. What is happening?
Yes, go on, Rafiq.
Hello?
Go on, Rafiq.
The incident which occurred on July 1 in the Upper West region had a 4-member committee that was set up by the National Security, having a 4-member committee comprising 2 from the Military High Command and 2 from the Bureau of National Investigations, the NIB.
Yeah.
And so they started work on Monday. They initially had their meetings with the command officer of the battalion in WA. After that, they moved to speak with the Upper West commander of the National Investigation Bureau, NIB, and then also the Upper West Police Commander and also the Upper West Regional Commander of the Ghana Police Service. And so they also moved to the Upper West Regional Hospital where they spoke with Muhammad Gafur, who developed a fracture on his right thigh bone, and he has to go beneath the knife. And so after that, they spoke to about 16 people in the Upper West region. So today, what they have been doing has been to be at the 10 mechanized battalion agri barracks to speak with these soldiers who are alleged to have been involved in the act. So in all Israel, there are 86 of them. And so my information is that today they have been able to interrogate about 20 of them at the barracks.
Do we know what was the outcome of today's proceedings? What conclusion did they come to, if any?
We are getting some information that we are gleaning on, which has to deal with some preliminary findings, and then one has to do with some of the persons involved in the act. The information that we have gathered, which is unimpeachable, clearly states that 3 of the soldiers, the sentry guard, and also other 2 soldiers have also been demoted. That's the preliminary findings. They also investigators also revealed that 11 persons so far have also come for work. Out of the 11, 13 of them also reported of assault cases against the soldiers, and also 13 mobile phones also are missing. They're also talking about a missing man about 14,600. And our investigation also revealed that on the preliminary findings that about 8 soldiers currently on detention. They will have a 30-day detention. That's the punishment given to them. So the investigation is still ongoing. It will continue tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much, Rafiq. So we go back to Adam Bona. And one of the issues that has come up, Mr. Bona, has to do with the composition of this committee. So we're having some soldiers and some NIB officials. And the concern is that they're essentially investigating themselves, and the proceedings are also not in public. Any views on that?
Well, I would have wished that these proceedings, just like we are seeing in the Ashanti region, would have been public. That will probably, build some substantial amount of confidence in the, state security apparatus, and to, have confidence. Let the people of the upper west, and largely Ghanaians, who are suspicious of military and the military movement, to trust that the military are there to defend all of us. And so I would have wished that that is done. But that notwithstanding, if what your colleague Rafiq Salam is saying is anything to go by, then I would say that yes, if others have been demoted, others are in guard room, in detention, I would want to see swift action. And I do believe and trust in the defense minister. I want to believe that he would rise to the occasion once again and ensure that all of those who are found culpable, those who young officers, soldiers who have barely just finished their training, and the first thing they do after deployment is to go and brutalize the citizens who pay them, the citizens who put them into training, brutalize them this way. I think apart from that observation, apart from saying that they should have made this public, if what we are hearing is true, then I would want to say that, yes, they should continue and interrogate all of them, and get everyone who is culpable severely punished. Those who have to be dismissed should be dismissed. Those to be demoted, demoted. I think that will serve as a deterrent for, officers who largely sometimes think they will take advantage of citizens and go free.
All right. Thank you very much, Adam Bona, a security analyst. Now, the Joy Clean Ghana campaign is back on the road, this time with public health officers of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly clamping down on illegal public toilets within the Jamestown community. 2 weeks ago, the team shut down several public toilets at Aveno for failing to maintain proper sanitary conditions. The situation is no different at Jamestown, where hundreds of residents visit open-air public toilet facilities, which emit awful stench. Manuel Corante was with the team in our reports.
The Accra Metropolitan Assembly building regulations states is very clear. Anybody who wants to put up a house, part of your drawings that you are going to submit to the planning committee, provision of toilet facility is embedded into your drawings. So there's no reason for any landlord to give out that he has
Head of the Environmental Health Unit at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Joseph Asitanga, detailing the public health regulations on the siting and operations of public toilets within the city of Accra. Per the Assembly's bylaws, all residential buildings must necessarily have dedicated toilet facilities. But the reality on the ground, at least as observed by team members of the Joy Clean Ghana campaign, is different.
Money and ananum. Untimi say that say, and so better say, but be able to me.
No toilet me to me, I came in toilet me to one of femini. As I see Yano Biano. It was on my femineba. She mock us, I no more by me no pay. I write a cash as an uncle, no pay. I shall pay a toilet machine. Come a pure squab and ask about femini. I guess I'm not about Jimmy and sent in your ear. I feel like our jewel was free. Oh, and then about me a Jew about the show about because Joe Bardon, like all Joe no ban toilet in Ponyoba, like all bad toilet center about more.
People are forced to patronize highly insanitary public toilet facilities operating illegally. The AMA has been clamping down on these illegal public toilets, sometimes amidst agitation from the operators.
There are people who are going to who be going to toilet without a scribe. They cannot go and do that.
It's because the toilet is smelling.
No, it's your toilet. It's your toilet not smelling. There is no any other toilet which that don't smell. What are you saying?
But this will not be allowed to continue.
With this alone, we will prosecute him because he is breeding and harboring infectious material. This is very, very infectious, likely to. The breeding of flies here is serious. Okay, the stench alone that is emanating here to the neighborhood is not allowed. And this alone even said, those who smoke, if somebody come to smoke and then fire lit this, the whole community is going to be exposed to fire risk. Is it not true? It's true. And you know, why do you do it? So, Sam, I'm going to prosecute him for what is here. The nuisance is something he himself deliberately admitted that what he is doing is wrong. So once you know that what you are doing is wrong, we'll prosecute you. So Sam, we have to serve him a letter. Yes, we'll serve you a letter, take you to court on this particular issue.
This public toilet facility is located in the heart of Jamestown, within a 500-meter radius with the Bank of Ghana building, Supreme Court complex, and the Makola Market. PRO of the AMA, Gilbert Ankra, says government has reintroduced the Gamma Sanitation project to assist households get dedicated toilet facilities.
We appreciate the fact that there is more to be done. As I speak to you now, since the inception of the Gamma Sanitation project, the Assembly has so far constructed over 4,200 household toilet facilities for people within its catchment area. Gamma project ended this year. Thankfully, the project has been renewed, and we want to use this opportunity to let households who still don't have toilet facilities to approach the Assembly, and then we would ensure that we hook them up to proper places of convenience.
As this call is sounded, there are so many more people who go every day without access to a basic need like proper toilet facilities within the city of Accra. For Joy News, Manuel Cranting.
We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime to bring you more business news. Stay tuned in.
In business, the Chartered Institute of Marketing in Ghana has launched this year's edition of the annual National Marketing Performance Awards. The 37th since its inception aims to reposition Ghana to leverage the African Continental Free Trade Agreement for economic development. There is more in this report.
The objective of the AFCFTA is to, among other things, create a single continental market for goods and services with free movement of business persons and investments, paving the way for accelerating the establishment of the Continental Customs Union. Speaking to Joy Business at the media launch of the CIMG National Marketing Performance Awards, President of the Institute, Dr. Daniel Kasati, said it is the expectation of the Institute in choosing the theme that Ghana as a corporate brand will be repositioned based on its comparative advantages.
You know, we have one of our key agenda for the year be advocacy. We are going to explore ways by which we can advocate for the nation Ghana to come to the realization that, yes, AFTA has come, yes, AFTA is being housed here in Ghana because we have the secretariat, but we need to consciously, marshal our resources to take advantage. The corporate Ghana needs to set the agenda for business entities to follow. So we say, yes, nation Ghana must show the signpost that AFTA has come. These are the enormous bottomless opportunities available and how businesses can take advantage and explore further.
National Vice President and Chairperson of the Awards Planning and Selection Committee, Agnes Ifa, in her submission assured that standards of the award scheme won't be compromised.
Being mindful of the achievements, the Institute has resolved to keep the stakes very high and as relevant as possible, so that the standards by which we assess individual and corporate performances is not compromised at all. We are committed to keeping the awards process simple, transparent, and fair. It is this level of commitment that has guided us as a responsive institution to constantly introduce new and progressive ideas, all aimed at adding value to our processes as well as new award categories.
She has, however, urged corporate organizations to be skeptical about other award schemes.
I think it's also important for the public to realize that when people approach you and say they're giving you an award, you have to try and do a bit of a due diligence, which is ask a few questions. What is the criteria? What did you do to deserve that award? I think that sometimes people get excited and then they just go ahead, only to realize later that there was nothing really behind it. Substance and quality is important.
The media launch of the 32nd CIMG Awards featured the official launch of the Institute's 40th anniversary amid the unveiling of a new anniversary cloth and logo. Kwabena Ejekum is Chief Executive and Registrar of the CIMG.
What does this act bring to us? You realize that in all of these years, we've been depending on our non-core business. Now we are going to the core, where we have launched on the 29th day of April 2021. We launched the professional marketing qualifications, for which that SBU alone is an industry in itself.
The 32nd CIMG National Marketing Performance Awards is slated for 6th of November this year, and nominations are currently open.
The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, will be relying on integration of its biometric card and other technology systems to improve service delivery. This is expected to help clamp down on illegal operators in the system and also boost revenue for the country. Acting Director of Finance at the DVLA, Andrews Dente, disclosed after the authority received the honor as Best State-Owned Enterprise in Customer Experience at the 10th World Marketing Awards in Accra.
Marketing awards in the last 10 years have celebrated brands and individuals that excel in their field through innovation, value addition, and service delivery. After emerging the Best State-Owned Enterprise and Customer Experience for the year, the DVLA said work is ongoing to ensure that majority of its operations are digitalized, a situation that will help clamp down on users of fake vehicle number plates and thereby block all revenue leakages. Here's Acting Director of Finance at the DVLA, Andrews Dente.
Yes, you know, there was problems where people would come up and they were able to go and print their own license plates, and there were times that you could have a duplicate number for one car. So part of the digitisation program is going to help us to overcome this problem. So now we are trying to make sure that the embossers, those who have been mandated to emboss, we make sure that they wouldn't emboss any numbers that are not coming directly from us.
Other award winners for the night includes MTN, Standard Chartered Bank, Absa Bank, and Unilever Ghana. Chief Executive of Instinct Wave, organizers of the event, Akin Naptal, has been speaking with Joy Business.
In promoting their brand equity, if you look at, there's no known product without marketing, and marketing has a role to play in every organization. If they need to develop their brand, they need to develop their product sales innovatively. So coming together to celebrate these executives, I think is important. 10th year anniversary show how far we've gone in promoting the industry. The marketing professional deserved an award and they deserve recognition. During COVID-19, you will witness there's a lot of shortfall, but the marketers need to push their product and service and still build a profitability for their company. And that is why tonight we are rewarding them, the brand and the individuals.
The award is themed celebrating a decade of brands and individuals that have worked tirelessly and passionately for their visions.
Some environmentalists are advocating the adoption of what they term precision mining systems to help promote responsible mining among small-scale miners. This system ensures only areas with enough coal gold to cover expenditure are open for mining, contrary to the indiscriminate digging for gold. The environmentalists are pushing for the signing of a bond as part of requirement for licensing small-scale miners. Nana Ejura participated in a national multi-stakeholder dialogue on mining and filed this report.
Precision mining system ensures areas with enough gold deposits identified through geological investigation are mined. Under the traditional small-scale mining, miners take concessions indiscriminately in search of gold, incurring huge losses. Deputy Director for Operations at the Environmental Protection Agency, Engineer Ransford Sechi, explains the impact of the current system of mining.
Do the necessary investigation to determine where the deposit is. So you go, what we say, to go for the eye of the project. You go in there and then you take the gold and then you process. But if you say you don't know until you dig until you find where the gold is, then what amount will you use for the areas you didn't find gold?
Dean for the Faculty of Natural Resources at KNUST, Professor Cherboatin believes investments in precision mining will help promote responsible mining.
I think if it is a technology that is working elsewhere, we need to do everything possible to make sure that we also have access to that technology, because it will reduce first the cost involved in mining, and also it will ensure that we don't dig everywhere, and that where there is no gold, there is no point in digging, and that will of course translate into less damage being done to vegetation and soils.
Under the Environmental Assessment Regulations 1999, any undertaking in respect of which a reclamation plan is required to post a reclamation bond based on approved work plan. Large-scale miners post bonds financially to serve as a surety to cover the cost of environmental damage at the site during or after the operations. But the EPA is yet to subject small-scale miners strictly to the requirement. Small-scale miners, however, believe signing up to the bond may adversely affect their operations. The Oda District Chairman for the Ghana National Association for Small-Scale Miners, Mohammed Amao, says the bond will be effective if miners are made to prospect the land for gold before rolling out the bonding.
As a small-scale miner,
when we go for license, it clearly spells out the process for reclamation. The authorities should know those who refuse to reclaim the land because they are licensed. There is no need for new laws.
The stakeholder dialogue was organized by Tropembos Ghana under the NORAD-funded project, securing food and ecosystem services in mining-plagued regions of Ghana. The national dialogue climaxes similar events from various districts where the project is being undertaken. Kwame Apia Ousu is project manager at Tropembos.
So we believe that having this orientation towards national development for our project, the appropriate ministry, the minister and the authorities will accept the contributions from this level. And I believe that we have to also take it forward.
For Joy News, Nana Ochima reporting.
And that'll be all for business, but we leave you with a summary of international business news.
It's time to bring you sports. My name is Hans Mensah Andor, and England versus Denmark. The semi-final game at Euro 2020 is going on at Wembley 90 minutes down, the two teams locked at 1-1, and so we are heading into extra time. We'll definitely bring you more updates on that particular one. But back home, Accra Hearts of Oak have booked a place in the quarter-final of the MTN FA Cup after beating second-tier side Young Wise in the inform Daniel Efriye-Barnier scored the only goal of the game. Here are highlights of the game.
Salif Ibrahim's corner, and looked like a handball. That is, it's a teasing one, really is. Eluding everybody. Barnier gets a little flick on it. And Abednego Tete there. I'm not sure why he scored against him because no foul. The ball, he just couldn't get the contact that he would have wanted. The second half, Hearts of Oak could be a lot stronger, and Young Wise will be trying to frustrate them as long as they can and maybe force issues into the shootout. Kenny Paddy gets us going for second half. Here is Felix Lamte. Division 1 League game against Uncle T United FC. And there he goes with the curler, but it goes straight to goalkeeper Ben Mensah. Double where the ball was going. You can see the goalkeeper just checking onto his left to see the gap that was there to get it to Ametepe, but the ball goes to Caleb Amankwa. Lovely pass, good control from Barnier. Goes past the keeper. Would this be the upland? Great defending. Is a penalty. The flick by Abednego Tete. Barnier does with the skip pass. His man gets the ball around the goalkeeper. Was there contact? I think yes, there was contact, but there was a coming together between the ball and the man. You see better from here. He got bits of the ball before he got the man. I think it's a really harsh call. Now referee whistles, Barnier steps forward. Daniel Efriye-Barnier, he slots it. Hearts of Oak up by 1-0 here at the Theatre of Dreams in Dawu. It's confident strike. Goalkeeper can't reach it. There's no way he reaches it even if he gets it right. But it's powerful enough. It's into the corner. And it gives Hearts of Oak the lead, which I think on the balance of play they've deserved. But it's one that Young Wise would think that the call is harsh on them. For Hearts of Oak, they was for the person who committed it for his grip man. It's Calabama cross free kick.
So Hearts into the next stage of the MTN FA Cup, and I'm sure Israel will be very happy with our scoreline. Let's do some tennis. Roger Federer's bid for a 9th Wimbledon title is over after he was stunned in straight set by Hubert Hurkacz in the quarterfinals. The Swiss lost 6-3, 7-6, 6-love to the 14th seeded Pole, who reached his first Grand Slam semi-final. It is the first time the 20-time major champion Federer has lost a set to Love at the All England Club. And over at Wembley, extra time has just kicked off between England and Denmark. Israel, is it still coming home?
I'm not sure whether it's going or coming.
Well, for now, it's somewhere around home. But
who's your money on?
You know what I say, I try to keep my money in my pocket. You know.
All right, thank you very much, Hans Mensah and for bringing us the sports. And that's it for the Bulletin. I'm Israel Live. Thank you very much for watching. Evans Mensah is up next with PM Express.